Chef, January 28th on Fox.
A full hour of Family Feud this morning at 8 on Fox 14.
Right now it's 7 on Fox 14. Young Pittsburgh softball players had the opportunity to hone in their skills. Plus, Joplin residents had the opportunity to get their hands dirty while creating some pottery. And we've got freezing rain out there, dangerous travel conditions across the region. We're going to take a look at that forecast coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Chris Warner to 7 o'clock on this Monday morning. And this has got to be a first, our entire morning show live from my house. And it's just me. And that's a sign as to how dangerous the road conditions are out there right now that we are continuing to deal with across the area. I cannot emphasize enough how slick these roads are. And of course, school's out today, so we got the little ones. And mom's work is closed as well. So check the bottom of your screen for any school closings, business closings, organizations that are canceled out today. And if you don't have to be out today, by all means, do what you can to stay home, because that's why I'm here. I made it so far to the station, and unless I'm driving through the fields, my car would not stay on the road anymore. So in ice, it doesn't matter what you're driving. It's going to be slick regardless out there, and it's going to be difficult, if not impossible, to gain traction in some areas. And I wasn't the only one sliding off the road today, and unfortunately, I'm sure there will be a few more. So please, if you don't have to be out, don't. Let's take a quick look outside. This is our camera on top of the Cornell complex in downtown Joplin, and what looks like rain and what looks like wet roadways is actually ice. Now, I've seen city crews, I've seen MoDOT crews, I've seen KDOT crews, all from here on these cameras, but regardless, the amount of ice that's out there is still enough to make roadways very slick, very treacherous out there, so slow down if you do have to be out. MoDOT cameras around the metro again. We've seen crews out. The main roads in Joplin aren't bad, but there's still plenty of patchy black ice out there, and you get on the side streets and those rural roadways, and it's a no-go. You also need to be careful if you're leaving, if you're just walking out your back door, because your sidewalk, your driveway is probably covered in ice as well. KDOT camera south of Pittsburgh, see how shiny that road is? Some of that it's not just water, that's ice out there. So please be careful. And here's what we're talking about, another picture. KDOT reporting a majority of roadways in southeast Kansas listed as covered, and it's with ice, and that becomes the other problem. You saw on those cameras, it looks like rain. It looks like just water on the roadways, and that's what's going to make it even more dangerous, because you don't know for sure what you're about to drive up on. At least with snow, it's out there. It's honest with you. It's up front. It's white. It's piled up, and you can see it's snow. Ice is much more dangerous. And MoDOT continuing to report a number of covered roadways across the area as well. Skywatch Storm Tracker showing what is mostly still just freezing rain out there. And freezing rain, of course, it's falling as rain. It's falling as a liquid because the air temperatures are warm enough for it to be rain, but the ground temperatures are below freezing, and freezing rain freezes on contact with surfaces, hence freezing rain. Winter weather advisories across the region will continue until noon today, and in terms of total ice accumulations, we're looking anywhere from 1/10 to 2/10 of an inch out there. And southeast Kansas could get a little cooler this evening as rain moves through. And as you see, there might be some additional freezing rain and ice accumulations out there as we head into the evening hours. So do be cautious. We'll have another complete look at your forecast and talk about how long all this is going to last here in just a few more minutes. And to the news side, officials say 3 people are dead after an Air Evac Life Team helicopter crashed in Oklahoma. It happened shortly before midnight Saturday night. Authorities say the helicopter took off from Oklahoma City, headed west about 75 miles toward Weatherford. However, it crashed near the town of Hydro, killing all 3 crew members on board. The NTSB has taken over the investigation. And 3 Missouri men have been arrested and charged after Missouri State Highway Patrol officers found human remains in a burn pile last Tuesday night. It happened in Cedar County. Authorities arrested Bradley Keith of El Dorado Springs, Jimmy Cole of Stockton, and Brandon Choate of Lamar. Officials say all 3 men have been charged with tampering with physical evidence and abandonment of a corpse. The identity of the deceased has not been confirmed. And young softball athletes in Pittsburgh had a chance to learn fundamental skills from experienced college coaches yesterday at the Master Skills Camp hosted by Fast Pitch Masters. Yesterday's camp was held at World Class Sports and featured 4 sections where the athletes could enhance their hitting, infield, outfield, and speed performance.
With any kids that I coach, I love seeing their individual personalities come out, especially as a catcher and as somebody who was a little bit of a standout kid, or like a odd personality, I guess you could say. I like seeing every single personality that's in here and all of them interacting with each other.
Fast Pitch Masters travels all across the country for their Master Skills camps. Northform's Gallery in Pittsburgh invited locals to learn how to sustainably add their own personal touch to their outerwear at a jacket jewelry class. Those in attendance were able to...
I go to flea markets, garage sales, antique stores. I like to find vintage laces and buttons and just anything with a vintage feel to it that, probably belonged to somebody's grandma that I can use and bring new life to something.
Now, Brenda says she upcycles all of her art pieces. In honor of Cervical Health Awareness Month, Pittsburgh hosted a women's health fair on Saturday. The event, organized by the Community Health Center of Southeast Kansas, raised awareness for HPV and the importance of getting screened for cervical health. Exams were available for women between the ages of 21 and 65.
We do breast cancer, we do lung cancer. No one really focuses on cervical cancer. It's a little bit more of an intimate exam, so some people are nervous and don't regularly go to their doctor. And so I actually had a patient this year that was affected by cervical cancer, and she was in her 30s. So I just came up with this idea and reached out to my planning team, and we got this scheduled.
The American Cancer Society estimates that almost 14,000 new cases of invasive cervical cancer will be diagnosed in 2024. Women's Health Fair also had booths sharing information about other health-related issues. Organizers say they want to expand the event to other cities in the area. To learn how often you should get tested, you can check out this story on our website. That's KOAMnewsnow.com. And local artists on Saturday were able to get their hands dirty while learning to wheel throw their own ceramic projects on Saturday. Spiva Center for the Arts hosted the event as wheel thrower Stephanie Roy shared different techniques. The event began at 1 and wrapped up around 4.
I found this class on Facebook and I've wanted to get back into pottery, and I invited my sister.
I have a dog bowl right now I'm creating.
And I just finished a coffee cup.
The class was open for people 15 years of age and older with a fee of $60 per thrower. Well, coming up, details on what to look for. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Welcome to Miss Daisy's, where style meets comfort. Your space. Come shop with us at Miss Daisy's Home and Decor and give your home the makeover it deserves.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It is now 7:10 on this Monday morning across the area. Icy conditions out there making for dangerous travel as well. We have winter weather advisories across the entire region until noon, and we're looking at totals of around 1 to 2/10 of an inch of ice, which is enough to create hazardous driving conditions and cause some other issues as well out there. And as you look into southeast Kansas, you see how those totals go up a little later in the day. It's because as this transitions to rain, parts of southeast Kansas may be a little colder later today, and that may allow a brief transition back to freezing rain. Across the area, Skywatch Storm Tracker into southwest Missouri still showing what appears to be at least an attempt to transition to rain just to the southwest of Osceola and right around the Stockton area, but the rest of us continuing to deal with freezing rain across the area and still back into northeastern Oklahoma right along the I-44 corridor. Now, southeast Kansas beginning to look a little better. Cherokee, Crawford counties still getting in on some somewhat more moderate freezing rain out there. However, again, later today with the rain, some of southeast Kansas, it's clear now, could see an additional little bit round of freezing rain across the area. This is a look at that whole system bringing snow, wintry mix, freezing rain. There's ice storm warnings to our east and to our south, as well as winter storm warnings. So thankfully, we're not going to get nearly as much ice as some of our neighbors, but it is still enough to cause treacherous driving conditions out there. We've got KDOT reporting the majority of highways in southeast Kansas as covered. MoDOT reporting similar situation in southwest Missouri. And, of course, that does include a big stretch of I-49 and most of the main thoroughfares in and around Joplin, Neosho, Mount Vernon, Monette. Take a look at Springfield, and that's you go further east. That's where they're dealing with ice storm warnings with heavier ice accumulations out there. Our camera on the Cornell Complex, again, it looks like wet roadways, but it's ice. And that's the problem with icy conditions is snow is honest and straightforward with you. It's white, it's on the ground, it's obvious that it's snow and that it's slick. Ice, on the other hand, looks like this. As you can see on these MoDOT cameras, it looks like rain. But these roadways are frozen, and you don't realize it until you hit it. So, again, if you don't have to be out today, don't. And if you do, for heaven's sake, drive slow, watch out, because what may look like a clear road, the next thing you know, you're in the ditch. So be cautious out there. KDOT cameras south of Pittsburgh. Now we're getting a little more daylight. You can see they are working to clear them. In fact, there's a KDOT truck back there on this camera, but there's still going to be icy spots out there. Now, again, by mid-morning, we're going to start to warm up enough that any rain that's falling will transition to just straight rain. And then we'll see just showers and maybe a rumble of thunder or two later today across the area. But again, as you see out west, parts of southeast Kansas could get a little cooler, maybe see an additional round of some frozen precipitation. And then as we head towards sunrise tomorrow, the rain clears out for a little bit out there, and then it will return tomorrow night. It's 31 in Joplin right now with that freezing rain continuing to fall. Temperatures around the area still aren't moving much. Still, you'd almost think the system was broken, but it's not. They're just not moving much. Upper 20s, low 30s. Wind chills out there, some of us into the teens in some cases as the wind picks up here and there. And we'll have gusty south winds up to 25. Highs today, though, upper 30s out there. So, again, this won't last long, but it's just enough through the overnight hours that it is made for dangerous traveling conditions this morning. Rain will continue into the evening and overnight hours. Overnight lows, as you see, don't move much either, falling back to the mid-30s. And then we'll have a brief break from the rain and all this other activity tomorrow. Cloudy and warmer into the low 40s out there. As we look down the road, we have more rain chances tomorrow night, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. But take a look at Thursday and Friday. Temperatures into the 50s, pushing near 60 out there. So we just have to get through today and some of this just not so pleasant freezing rain out there. Then we're going to warm up and things will be just a little bit better. Let's check your forecast. We'll be back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Hi, I'm Dow Quick, and I'm inviting you on a holiday vacations tour. Join me.
It's like gladiators out there. We need a medic. First member of Team Ramsey.
Team Arrington.
Team Blaze. Is the season premiere of Next Level Chef, January 28th on Fox.
Topping Nation Watch this morning, an investigation is underway at Microsoft after Russian hackers gained access to the email accounts of some top company employees. According to the software giant, its security response team detected the attack on its corporate systems on January 12th. The Russian hacking group initially gained access to a small percentage of senior leaders' email accounts in late November. Hackers used a password spray attack in an attempt to access a large number of accounts. Microsoft said its security team immediately took action to disrupt the malicious activity and deny the threat further access. The company identified the Russian threat actor group as Midnight Blizzard. The investigation is ongoing. And it is now officially a two-person race for the GOP presidential nomination after Florida Governor Ron DeSantis suspended his campaign on yesterday. DeSantis said he does not have a clear path to victory. But just a day before voters head to the polls, Donald Trump and Nikki Haley crisscrossed the state while stepping up attacks on one another. Penny Cummett has more from Manchester, New Hampshire.
It's clear to me that a majority of Republican primary voters want to give Donald Trump another chance.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis suspending his campaign yesterday, throwing his support behind former President Trump and taking a parting shot at former GOP rival Nikki Haley.
We can't go back to the old Republican guard of yesteryear, a repackaged form of warmed over corporatism that Nikki Haley represents.
That's the sound of a two-person race.
Yet on the campaign trail, both Haley and Trump wish DeSantis well.
I'd like to take time to congratulate Ron DeSantis.
And they continue to trade barbs.
The majority of Americans disapprove of Trump and Biden.
She's unelectable.
Haley even questioned Trump's mental fitness after he appeared to confuse her with House Speaker Nancy Pelosi while discussing January 6th.
Nikki Haley is in charge of security. We offered her 10,000 people.
I wasn't even anywhere near the Capitol. The reality is he was confused.
With just one day until the nation's first primary election, multiple polls are still showing Donald Trump with a double-digit lead.
I hope that Trump wins. I believe he will.
More or less rooting for Nikki Haley at the moment, just because I want Trump to lose.
Meanwhile, Democrats are organizing a write-in campaign for President Biden, since his name will not appear on the ballot. Penny Commit, CBS News, Manchester, New Hampshire.
The president's name is not on the New Hampshire ballot because he is complying with the Democratic Party's decision to make South Carolina its first primary state. This week, the Biden administration and campaign are both focused on abortion rights to mark the anniversary of the landmark Roe v. Wade decision. Vice President Harris is set to deliver a speech later today in Wisconsin. And we are continuing to deal with freezing rain across the area. Cameras out there, they show what look like wet roadways, but in reality, there are icy spots making it very dangerous across the area, hence why the KOAM Morning News is coming to you from my living room. We're going to have more on that forecast here in just a little bit, and coming up a little later, a New York set of twins steal their graduation spotlight by graduating in the top 2 of their class.
Now at Johnny Carino's, enjoy our 4 for $15.99 all-you-can-eat shrimp and pasta meal.
To me and said, "This is the day you die," and he shot me.
48 hours today at 9, right here on Fox 14.
Well, you're about to meet a pair of brothers, twins, actually, who are graduating at the top of their class. But that's only the tip of the iceberg of their achievements. Michelle Charlesworth has their story.
Let's start with, these have never exactly been normal twins. They're extraordinary, and the now seniors at Herrick Public High School just found out a few weeks ago where they're headed.
I'm Devin, and I'm 17, and I'm going to be attending Cornell University. I'm Dylan, and I'm 17, and I will be going to Yale University.
Just before that, they found out one was valedictorian, that's Devin. The other came in right behind him, salutatorian, and that's Dylan. How far apart were their GPAs?
0.6 of a point.
That's the spread.
Yeah, I was happy for him.
But wait, I gotta keep going. I gotta keep bragging about them. That's not it. There's volleyball and music and clubs. Teaching Chinese yo-yo in the Asian American Cultural Club, playing double bass and cello. In volleyball, back-to-back championships, and they laugh at themselves and even play video games on weekends and admit they didn't initially love everything. Running?
I actually hated it at first. Like when my dad would wake us up at like 7 a.m. to run in the morning, like train.
They've run 10Ks and half marathons and even one. They even ran a marathon. Eventually, they liked running and stuck with it in that order. Devin and Dylan's big sister, Jalen, is at Caltech studying astrophysics, of course. The fraternal twins had decided to apply to 2 different schools early, and luckily they got in, but it's going to be something different, saying goodbye to a very best friend with whom each has grown up. Their secret?
So our parents always, they greatly value education and always pushed us to try our best. So even if we were to fail, all they asked for was for us to try our best. Like most of the experiences that I encounter, I tackle them with an open mind, and I'm ready to learn from everyone, whether it's my little things from my peers, socially, or from my teachers.
No matter where you end up, that is winning.
Certainly an impressive list of achievements. I graduated, and that counts, doesn't it? Maybe not valedictorian and maybe not salutatorian, but I did graduate, and that counts for something. Just remember, whatever you do, do it well. Well, coming up, the 5th annual Empire Market Chili Cook-Off took place over the weekend. We're going to have a chance to hear from a few who participated. And we're dealing with freezing rain across the area, icy conditions leading to a number of closures, cancellations, all those scrolling at the bottom of your screen. We'll have the latest on your forecast when we come back.
It made me feel great to know that, you have somebody standing behind you saying, we believe them 100%.
You at the theater.
You're watching the 4 states' most watched news.
.28. We're going to get started with a quick weather update. So looking outside is our camera on the Cornell Complex. Of course, KOAM Morning News coming to you entirely from my front room. And I was looking out the window, and there was one car that came around the corner. They slowed down. They took their turn very slowly. Just a few seconds later, there was a van coming down the road. He was going a little too quick and didn't begin braking until he almost got to the stop sign and went right through it. So, guys, I'm telling you, it looks like rain. The roads look like they're wet. It's not. It is ice. You have got to slow down. You have got to be careful out there because things like that are what's going to happen. So just do be cautious. MoDOT cameras around the area. Again, it looks like wet roadways. I know I've said it 100 times, but I cannot emphasize enough the fact that this is ice out there. This is rain that is frozen on the ground. And while road crews have been out, ice is a lot more difficult to clear than, say, snow. Ice is also a lot more difficult to see than snow because take a look at the KDOT camera here on 69. Most of that's still ice out there, especially on the shoulders. And it looks like rain, and it's not. So please be careful. Taking a look at road conditions, KDOT still reporting a number of covered roadways across southeastern Kansas in the majority of our counties, and that is covered in ice, which is why you've got to be cautious. MoDOT reporting the same thing. Still a number of covered or at least partially covered roadways across southwestern Missouri out there, including a number of main thoroughfares in and around Joplin, Neosho, Mount Vernon, Monette. Ice storm warnings off to our east. If you look on the Skywatch Storm Tracker, that dark purple color that you can see out there, these underneath that freezing rain, that is ice storm warnings. Ice storm warnings to our south and winter storm warnings off south of Tulsa as well. So thankfully we're not dealing with it as bad, but it's still dangerous out there. Skywatch Storm Tracker continuing to show the freezing rain around the area. Winter weather advisories will continue until noon across the entire area today. And we're looking at, on average, about 1/10 to 2/10 of an inch of ice. Now, if you look out in Kansas, in parts of southeast Kansas, it stops for a bit and then picks back up. It's because as this transitions to rain and we head into the evening hours, temperatures out west may be a little cooler. You could see another round of potential freezing rain accumulation late this evening into the overnight out there. So be careful, slow down, make time to get where you're going, and see if you're even having to go anywhere. A lot of schools and businesses closed or canceled for today, those at the bottom of your screen. We'll have another full look at your forecast here in just a few more minutes. In local news, the Webb City Fire Department responded to a residential structure fire Friday night. It happened just before 10. Oronogo, Joplin, and Carl Junction responded to assist Webb City Fire. The fire was declared under control at about 10:30. No one was home when the fire broke out, but 2 pets did die inside the home. Red Cross will be temporarily helping the family as they relocate. Police in Oklahoma have arrested 4 fraternity members in the case of a dead Longhorn placed outside an Oklahoma State University fraternity house. Luke Ackerley, Brody Shelby, Andrew King, and Bennett Fady were charged with unlawful removal and disposal of a carcass, a misdemeanor. The Longhorn was found December 1st, the eve of the Big 12 championship game in which OSU was playing against the Texas Longhorns. All 4 men have pleaded not guilty. And board game enthusiasts gathered yesterday at the Bookhouse Cinema in Joplin for a Sunday game night. Some of the games available to play were Ghosts Love Candy, Sorry, Chinese Checkers, and Poetry for Neanderthals. Folks were able to come and join in on the fun from 4 to 9.
So what happened was when I lost my wife about a decade ago, and we were playing board games, and we were getting bored with Monopoly, playing Monopoly 5 times in a row. So I decided to buy some new games, and I met other people who like these new games. And so when I moved back to Joplin, I decided to try to fill that need. If it was a real party game, that's what happened.
There was a 10% discount on food and drinks for every participant. And this cold weather can be hard on vehicles of every type, and if yours runs on diesel, it could develop even bigger issues if you don't stay ahead of it, like freezing up or what's called gelling. But there are things that you can do to prevent that. First, don't fall behind on scheduled maintenance. You can also add an additive to your fuel to keep the diesel from freezing or gelling up. One mechanic says you could risk your ride not starting or dying on you as you roll down the road.
Really just stay on top of your maintenance, your fuel filter changes, and then get an additive ahead of time. We recommend every 15,000 typically, or every 15,000 miles typically. This time of year it's never a bad idea if it's been a while to go ahead and get that changed.
And if you want to warm up your diesel truck or tractor before heading out, don't leave it unattended. That could get stolen. And the Spiva Center for the Arts on Saturday hosted a neurographic art event. Neurographic art is a type of art therapy, and it's used to relax the mind and the body. Officials say this style of art encourages the brain to create new neural pathways.
Neurographic art is more of a recent thing for me. I began pour art. And then I do abstracts, and so I kind of added the Neurographica to that.
The event was open to adults from 2 to 6 p.m. And Joplin hosted the 5th annual Empire Market Chili Cook-Off Saturday. 9 chilies were competing in the event, and prizes were awarded to the top 3 contestants as decided by a panel of judges. The event also had public tasting, allowing people to cast their votes as well.
I like the competition. I like to see how it changes them and if they really like our chili. So yeah.
I think, January people start getting cabin fever. It's a little bit chilly, and that's why we're celebrating with chili.
The organization says all proceeds will support the Newton Community Kitchen. The Oscar Mayer Wienermobile was also at the market during the event, adding an extra attraction to the Empire Market activities. Well, coming up, cannabis dispensaries are in high demand in Minnesota. Caroline Cummings will have more on that story. Plus, as we've mentioned, we're continuing to deal with freezing rain across the area, leading to dangerous travel conditions and a number of cancellations and closures. Those are down below on the bottom of your screen. We'll have more on that forecast when we come back.
Hi, it's Ron, the Chief Carpetologist at Tyler's Carpet in Neosho. We are your complete floor covering store.
Local news an hour earlier, and then listen to your mom. KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. Simply more convenient.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It's now 7:37 on this Monday morning. Winter weather advisories continue across the area until noon, as we could see upwards of about 1/10 to 2/10 of an inch of ice accumulation out there from the freezing rain this morning. And then as you look later into the evening, we could see some additional freezing rain accumulations out in parts of southeast Kansas as rain rolls in and temperatures fall back a little bit out to our west. Skywatch Storm Tracker is continuing to show freezing rain across the area, still showing what it believes is just plain rain around Osceola and Stockton, but the rest of us continuing to deal with freezing rain across the region, all of us getting in the thick of it, beginning to slowly exit northeastern Oklahoma. And most of southeast Kansas is relatively clear at this point as well, but you have already dealt with some freezing rain, and as such, KDOT reporting a number still of covered roadways across southeastern Kansas through most of our counties and most of our roadways and major thoroughfares out there. And same reports over on the Missouri side, MoDOT continuing to report a number of covered roadways. And as we've mentioned, the problem is snow at least is, honest with you. You can see that it's snow. Out here, this wet stuff, what looks like wet roadways and rain, is ice. And you've got to slow down and be careful because it is dangerous out there. MoDOT cameras around the metro area still showing folks being responsible. Not nearly as many cars out there as there usually is for this time of day. Same on the KDOT cameras south of Pittsburgh. But as you can see, those roadways quite shiny, and that is, again, from ice pack that's out there. And it doesn't take a lot of ice for you to slip and slide on the roadway. Additionally, if you do have to be out today and you're heading to your car from your back door, you may slip and slide just getting from there to there. So watch out there. It is slick. It is dangerous. We'll warm up by mid-morning, and we'll start to see this transition to rain. It'll take a minute for what's on the roadways to start to clear out, but that should clear out by later today. However, again, later this evening with the rainfall out west, it could be a little cooler, and you may see some brief freezing rain out there, enough to add a little more ice accumulation. So watch out as we head into the overnight and into tomorrow morning, especially in parts of southeast Kansas. Rain exits by sunrise tomorrow, leaving us with cloudy skies for our Tuesday. 31 in Joplin right now. Freezing rain continuing to fall. Temperatures around the area still not moving much, upper 20s and low 30s, and some of us getting some wind chills back into the teens. I do think there might be something slightly wrong with this wind chill map because Joplin's reporting calm breezes, chill, but this map seems to suggest otherwise. We'll take a look into that for you. But today, again, temperatures into the upper 30s, so we will warm up. Gusty south winds pushing 25 miles an hour. Heading into tonight, we don't move much in our temperatures through the evening either, falling back into the low to mid 30s with calmer winds out of the southeast and the rain. Will be cloudy for most of our Tuesday and warmer, low 40s out there before rain chances return as we head into tomorrow night and Wednesday, and again on Friday and Saturday as we head toward the weekend. Look at Thursday and Friday. Temperatures in the 50s, upper 50s out there, potentially pushing near 60. We go into the weekend a little cooler, but still not bad, 40s and 50s. And next week, once again, 50s, maybe even some low 60s under sunny skies by next Tuesday. So today, one last miserable winterish day out there before we get an opportunity to clear out a little bit and clean up from some of the snow that's still around from last week as well. Let's check your forecast. Now heading over to Consumer Watch this morning. We're talking about some big layoffs out there. Stock numbers soaring. And this is with several companies announcing some big layoffs across the area. Now, the parent company of Sports Illustrated, it's laying off a significant number of the iconic magazine's staff. The publisher says it will continue to put out content. Magazine was recently accused of publishing AI-generated stories with fake author bylines, though the company denies those claims. Online marketplace Wayfair is laying off 13% of its employees, with its CEO saying the company expanded too quickly after COVID. And Macy's has plans to cut 2,300 jobs and close 5 store locations as it prepares to, quote, deploy a new strategy to meet the needs of an ever-changing consumer and marketplace. Minnesota could see a high demand for cannabis dispensaries. This after the state legalized the recreational use of marijuana last year. Cannabis regulators estimate there will need to be at least 381 retail dispensaries to meet the law's requirements. Caroline Cummings reports on what's on tap to happen next.
You're right. It's a changing industry. We're going to have fixes, and I look forward to working with you on them.
As soon as the sweeping 300-page bill to legalize marijuana passed, key negotiators promised the work wouldn't stop there.
It's been 100 years since we've had liquor prohibition, and we still have liquor bills here.
Regulators at the new Office of Cannabis Management suggest in a new report some changes for lawmakers to consider when they return to St. Paul next month, including implementing temporary business licenses as rulemaking continues so that everything is ready to roll next year, making adjustments to license criteria so everyone gets a fair shake starting a business, and streamlining the licensing process. Right now, there are 16 different types of licenses to apply for. Layli Fadahi, partner at a cannabis consulting firm Blunt Strategies, who worked closely with lawmakers on this, says the recommendations are a good step.
And they really align with the concerns that we've been hearing from local folks that want to enter the industry and are planning their businesses.
And the demand is there, according to the Cannabis Office. In its survey of cannabis consumers, 83% say they consume it at least monthly, 40% said daily, and 25% are growing plants at home, which became legal on August 1st.
The set of recommendations that were in these reports, I think, really demonstrate that OCM is working to ensure that Minnesota does not repeat the mistakes that other states have made.
State lawmakers return to St. Paul in less than a month. And those are our top stories in Consumer Watch this morning. We'll be back with more after this. But first, let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell.
Understand the threats. ProtectPressFreedom.org.
Well, Chef Gordon Ramsay launched a brand new series. It combines social media, sandwiches, and specifically one very popular meme. Fox's Ashley Dvorkin and Chef Ramsay take a look at Idiot Sandwich.
What are you? From socials to sandwiches, Chef Gordon Ramsay has cooked up a YouTube competition series called Idiot Sandwich. Inspired by his viral meme of the same name, social media influencers and digital content creators put their sandwich skills to the test in front of a live audience.
We started off an amazing meme with James Corden and Ben Winston. We were doing something fun for a skit for his show. We made the Idiot Sandwich, and so now we have this amazing competition, 20 minutes, elevate, and everyone loves sandwiches, by the way, as you know, and so you can get so creative. And I'm always pushing the boundaries out with sandwiches, and whether it's a beautiful grilled cheese or even a basic BLT, make it your best.
And you have some social media stars on that one. I know that is where a lot of people share with you their culinary creations. What is a recent one that was either the most surprising or strangest that was sent to you?
Yeah, my feeds get blocked. Sadly, it's not all glamorous stuff. One of the most exciting ones was a sandwich that was put together in a can, and they pressed it all and layered this thing up and pulled the can off, and it's just an amazing 10-tier sandwich. But these kids are super creative, by the way. Mm-hmm. I want to bring that on, and if you told me 2 years ago that we'd have 40 million followers on TikTok, I would never have believed you. So long may that continue.
So as the competitions continue, get ready for Chef Ramsay to put us right in the middle of a new culinary concept, sometimes literally.
The concept is 20 minutes, you make an amazing sandwich, and if you win, you become...
Yes.
What are you?
Idiot Sandwich.
Louder.
Yes, Idiot Sandwich.
There you go. There you go.
Nice.
In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
You can find Idiot Sandwich on Ramsay's YouTube page right now. And I'm going to tell you right now, I think that's how the wife feels about me. She's sitting in here. Anytime I try and cook, she comes out, she watches, and she goes, "What are you? An idiot sandwich?" And she's not wrong. I can't cook. But that's why she takes care of it for us, and that way we don't starve to death. Let's take one more quick look outside. This is our camera on top of the Cornell Complex, downtown Joplin. What looked like wet roads again, that is ice out there. Now, the road crews have been out, but ice is a lot more difficult to clear, so you need to just watch out. And like I've mentioned before, ice isn't like snow. You don't see it coming. You just hit one of those slick spots, and the next thing you know, you go sliding. So please slow down. Give yourself plenty of time to get where you're going. Like the KDOT sign says, roads may be icy in spots. Use caution. Best advice out there, as KDOT and MoDOT both are continuing to report covered roadways across most of the area. And so we're dealing with that ice out there. And as again, I witnessed a vehicle just now go sliding through a stop sign, so side roads definitely not clear. We'll have one more look at your forecast and the news you need to know right after this.
From the moment
earning many medals during his service, we are proud to salute Robert Etherton, a four-state hero.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Officials say 3 people are dead after an Air Evac Life Team helicopter crashed in Oklahoma. It happened shortly before midnight Saturday. Authorities say the helicopter took off from Oklahoma City, headed west about 75 miles toward Weatherford. However, it crashed near the town of Hydro, killing all 3 crew members on board. The NTSB has taken over the investigation. And police in Oklahoma have arrested 4 fraternity members in the case of a dead Longhorn placed outside an Oklahoma State University fraternity house. Luke Ackerley, Brody Shelby, Andrew King, and Bennett Fady were charged with unlawful removal and disposal of a carcass, a misdemeanor. The Longhorn was found December 1st, the eve of the Big 12 championship game, which OSU was playing against the Texas Longhorns. All 4 men have pleaded not guilty. 3 Missouri men have been arrested after Missouri State Highway Patrol officers found human remains in a burn pile last Tuesday. It happened in Cedar County. Authorities arrested Bradley Keith of El Dorado Springs, Jimmy Cole of Stockton, and Brandon Choate of Lamar. Say all 3 men have been charged with tampering with physical evidence and abandonment of a corpse. The identity of the deceased has not been confirmed. And a check of that forecast. Again, once we get through the freezing rain this morning, we're going to start to warm up enough that it turns to just rain, and then the ice out there that's accumulated will gradually melt. South winds gusting upwards of 25. Rain continues into the evening. Not much movement in temperatures, low to mid-30s. And the rain will wrap up before sunrise tomorrow, leaving us cloudy and a bit warmer. So we go in the low 40s, so anything that remains will definitely melt off. As we look ahead through the rest of the week, temperatures looking pretty good, pushing into the upper 50s and the 40s out there. Rain chances Tuesday night, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. But either way you paint it, at least the temperatures are going to get a lot better. So this freezing rain activity won't last for too terribly long, but it has created some pretty dangerous conditions out there. Well, a series of dazzling light installations were set up in London's Canary Wharf Financial District for the annual Winter Lights Festival running from January 17th to the 27th. The lights brought a spot of brightness to the British capital, which has faced freezing temperatures during a January cold snap. The 19 illuminations displayed at this year's festival explore, quote, the intersection and juxtaposition of nature and technology, organizers said in a statement. Among the installations is a work entitled Submergence, with thousands of suspended lights for visitors to walk through and explore. Certainly, you don't want to necessarily go walking through and exploring when it's freezing, but absolutely impressive display out there. So again, we want to remind folks a number of cancellations and closures at the bottom of your screen that you need to contend with out there. If you don't have to be out on the roadways, don't. They are dangerous. That's why the KOAM Morning News is coming to you from my living room this morning instead of from the KOAM studios, because it is very slick out. Thank you so much for letting us put the good in your morning. We will be back with more news and weather today at noon. Have a great morning and an even better day.